Hit it, Phil.
Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Can it be the breeze that fills the trees with rare and magic perfume? Oh, no, it isn't the breeze. It's Jackson time. La-da-da-da.
Stay tuned.
Right after this episode.
For our discussion.
The following program is brought to you in living color on NBC.
Good evening. I'm Jack Benny, and I want to tell you what a pleasure it is to be on Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In. Now, that's because I have a very amusing story for you. You see, it seems there were these 3 steeplejacks jammed in a submarine, and the taller of them said, or the tallest of them, rather, said, oh, you're going to love this. The tallest of them said...
Oh, that was hilarious. One of the funniest stories I've ever heard.
Really funny, yeah.
Wait a minute, there's more.
Well, we haven't got time for that right now, Jack. You got to get you ready for your lion taming act. Here you go.
Hat, huh?
You'll need this.
Right.
What? Wait a
Great
minute.
in the hat.
What line taming act? Wait, I've never done a line taming act.
It's all right. Neither is the lion.
Oh, well, in that case...
Get his chair.
A lot of people complain Mayor Yorty spends too much time outside of Los Angeles. Most of these people are in the towns he visits, outside of Los Angeles.
I must say I'm relieved that DeGaulle is out of power. I think it was downright nasty the way he kept Christine Keeler out of the common market.
Down home, we watch Laugh-In in the barn. It gives the livestock a sense of superiority.
Doing the Laugh-In show is my second favorite thing in the whole world. My first is having an unclean yak sit on my dinner.
The preceding program, which follows, was immediately pre-recorded to give the cast time to disguise themselves before leaving the studio.
Look, I told you, I've never done a line taming act.
You're terrific. For someone who's never done one, you're just great. Great.
I was?
Yes.
When did I do it? I didn't even do it.
Really, Jack? We don't have... You've seen this show. We don't have time for that stuff. The wardrobe lady's already pressed your ballet costume.
The ballet? But...
I think he's a 42 tutu.
I'm not a tutu. Look, I'm a 41 regular.
Well, be that as it may, come on.
And now, from beautiful downtown Burbank's Bird Sanctuary and Rifle Range, NBC ignores several threatening phone calls and presents Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In, starring Dan Rowan and Dick Martin, and very special guest star Jack Benny, plus Artie Johnson, with Ruth Buzzi, Henry Gibson, Goldie Hawn, Alan Suze, Burbank's only one-man, all-girl tuba band, Joanne Worley, Teresa Graves, Pamela Rogers, Jeremy Lloyd, and Lily Tomlin. And me, I'm Gary Owens with an important message for tired housewives. Sit down.
I think I'll have candy.
And now, kiddies, to see what happened to Dave Tebbutt when the bandits burned the Ponderosa down, set your secret decoder thing to 16 5 5 22 5 4. And for Master Mort Werner, the numbers are 12.
Down where I come from, they brought in one of those computer dating services, and it matched up the town's only 2 single people. You never saw 2 more surprised old broads in your life. So broads. Cooper said broads.
Miss Armby, do you believe in love at first sight? Do you believe in 2 hearts beating as one? Do you believe in mouth-to-mouth resuscitation?
Mr. Benny, you'll just be great in the ballet number.
But what do I do?
Well, just introduce Dan and Dick and don't make any mistakes, please.
You know, people have told me that after doing my own show for so many years, it would be hard making a switch to another show. Isn't that ridiculous? Anyway, here they are, Rochester Rowan and Dennis Martin. Tony, this is the silliest thing I've ever done in my life.
Just keep it moving, Jack. Keep it moving.
Keep it moving. Keep it moving.
Well, I must say, you're really looking great these days. What are you doing?
Thanks. You're kind of cute yourself.
No, I mean it. You're just a radiant picture of health.
Well, I should think so. That's because of my new interest,
What's
bodybuilding.
that? Bodybuilding? Yeah, very good. Where do you work out?
Well, in a all-girl health club.
By now, I ought to know better than to ask.
All day long, it's bend and reach, pinch and hug, bend and reach, pinch and hug.
Dick, come on now.
Done wonders for my gotchas.
No, seriously, do you lift weights?
Well, I guess so. Last night, I picked up 128 pounds. Yeah. She was in the cocktail lounge next to the club.
I see.
Her name was Barbara.
Dick, we're discussing bodybuilding.
You and Barbara were discussing bodybuilding?
No.
Well, you should believe me, baby. Barbara built a better body than anyone built before. And besides that, when better bodies are built, Barbara will build them besides.
Hey, can we get back to the health club?
I didn't even know you remembered.
Well, I'm not. You are.
Well, I got a leotard to prove it.
For heaven's sake, how do you get into things like that?
Well, it's not easy. I tell you, just pull them on slowly.
Not a leotard, you ding-dong. How in the world you get into an all-girls health club?
I lied.
Oh, well, that explains it.
It does?
You're not really a member of this club.
No, I'm not.
No. Good.
I own it.
You own it?
Sure, every girl should try the Dick Martin road to physical fitness.
I don't think I want to hear about it.
Yes, girls, a lovelier, slimmer you in just 3 short days.
3 short days?
And 12 great nights.
Dick, where is this alleged club of yours?
In my dressing room.
Now, do you expect women to believe they'll actually lose weight in your dressing room?
Lose what?
Weight in your dressing room.
Okay, anything you say. I'll just stall till the class gets started.
So not me. I'm going to go to the party. You like to pan along with us?
I just saw someone wearing a completely transparent see-through blouse and the shortest miniskirt in the world. I was horrified. I mean, you'd really think that Milton Berle would have better taste than that.
Oh, Mr. Benny, I often think about how I nagged my poor departed husband. And if I ever find out where he departed to, he'll never hear the end of it.
Mr. Rosmenko, light-footed one. In our country, we've been hearing a lot about the vocal minority.
Oh, Mr. Buddha sitting there. In the old country, it's the same thing.
Is
you know,
it
the minority is very vocal. Yes,
Very vocal.
Very vocal. Only from Siberia, it's impossible to hear them.
I went to my doctor's office and I almost froze to death standing there 2 hours without any clothes on. He can't be a very good doctor to need 2 whole hours for an eye test.
Ever since my picture appeared in the church journal, my parishioners have referred to me as the Pray Boy of the Month.
I don't know whether to go to a topless or a bottomless club. Maybe I'll just flip a coin. Heads or tails.
Boris and I went to a sensitivity session where we found out that I'm sensitive to criticism and he's sensitive to being hit with a chair.
The Congress promised us there'd be a lot of talk about tax reform, and they were right. There's been a lot of talk about tax reform.
I was so delighted to hear that Paul McCartney is still alive. Now, if we could get the same assurance about Prime Minister Wilson.
The way the post office handles parcels today is getting rougher and rougher. No matter how your packages start out, they end up junk mail.
Goldie, you'd be the one to ask about this. You know a lot of people.
Yes, I know a lot of things.
Yes, I know. And I appreciate your telling me about them. You know, but what do you think about this? A lot of people think that the country is becoming polarized.
That now, Dan.
No.
That is ridiculous.
Is it?
Because the world, how can they make us Polish?
You know what, Gina? If you'll accompany me to my apartment, I'll consider it quite an honor.
Well, I'm very touched.
I'll consider that, too.
Our club tastefully agrees that 18-year-olds should be allowed to vote, just as soon as they become 21.
Tell me, Jack, what do you think about this new idea of sex education in the schools?
Well,
yes.
Actually, there's nothing new about it.
Oh,
you
really?
see, we had the same thing when I went to school, only we called it recess.
Uncle Al doesn't feel so hot today. The medicine left. Well, today, Uncle Al is going to tell you the story of Hansel and Gretel.
Oh, that's boring.
Knock it off, you little babbler. Anyway, once upon a time, there were two brothers named Hansel and Gretel.
No, Uncle Al. Gretel was a girl.
Okay. Yeah, that's right, little Melissa. Isn't she cute? Anyway, Hansel and Gretel were brothers, except Gretel was a girl. And they were walking in the woods when they were jumped on by three big bears.
They were what?
Right then, a woodcutter came in carrying Red Riding Hood when suddenly the clock struck 12.
Oh, that was Cinderella.
How could Cinderella strike 12?
It was a clock.
Of course, and Cinderella struck the clock. And then they all lived happily ever after, and the house was made of candy.
No, that's Hansel and Gretel.
Right. Just like you promised. And remember, the moral of the story is you can lead a horse to water, but you can't...
And now stay tuned for this important message.
Show me a factory full of drunk employees, and I'll show you a potted plant.
But you told them. Now they won't stay tuned.
Olay!
That was great.
Great.
Beautiful.
That doesn't make sense.
Well, it'll work, Jack. Trust me.
Trust
it's gonna
you?
be yeah. Have I ever lied to you before?
No.
Well, there you go. It'll work. Keep it moving.
Again, keep it moving. Hike! I just don't get it.
Keep it moving, Mr. Jack Benny. Keep it moving.
It's moving. It's moving.
Tell me, Mr. Carson, what do you think is the best way for a girl to get into television?
Well, you just see my producer, Rudy Tellez, and he'll take care of you.
Oh, thank you.
That's all right.
Oh, Mr. Carson, can you tell me the best way for a girl to get into television?
In your case, just tear off the back of your set.
In Mayberry, we turn on Laugh-In at 8 o'clock sharp every Monday. That way, the TV is all warmed up by the time the late show comes on at 9. Oh.
You know, last night I was in my basement, just rummaging around in some old trunks.
Didn't you feel a little ridiculous dressed like that?
Oh, come on.
Suppose if somebody had dropped in unexpectedly.
You're being silly.
I'm silly. You're the one in the baggy shorts.
I was looking through some mementos of my youth, examining my memorabilia, and I found an old high school yearbook.
I didn't even know you went to an old high school.
Sure brought back a lot of memories. Hey, how'd you do in school?
Fantastic.
I mean, what kind of grades did you get?
Grades? We got grades?
Dick, don't you remember how well you did in class?
No, but there's a few recesses I'll never forget.
That's what I was telling you about. You see?
I think it's time for a quickie.
Why, is it recess already?
I think so. The bell just rang.
Now, hurry up, Mr. Jack Benny. You just got to read the cards. Look right there and read the cards. Hurry. Hurry.
I first met my wife, Mary, in a department store. When I married her, I figured if things didn't work, I could always take her back.
The policy of most department stores is, once you've used things, you can't take them back.
Yes, that's right. Now, come on, Mr. Jack Benny. These are the quickies. There's no time for all that.
But I...
Come here, baby. I want to hug you and kiss you and make mad, passionate love to you.
Oh, no. I'm sorry. This ain't my table. This is my table.
Man, you look like you got it made. I mean, man, I just lost my job. My apartment was robbed. My wife and kids ran out of me. I got nothing left in the whole world. How about a couple of dollars?
Why, certainly. If you think you can spare it.
You just can't sit around. There's a finale, you got the Indian, you have to put on, there's some finger painting, there's the waterfall sketch. There's so much. Oh, yeah, that's right, and the motorboat sketch, too. Come on, Jack.
The motor? Did you understand all that?
Well, yes.
I think you need this more than I do, Charlie.
Thank you.
You're gonna love this. Hello. I'm the new efficiency expert. What is it that you're doing?
Oh, well, I'm in quality control, testing
yes.
the product, checking its strength.
Oh, well, my goodness, that box sure did hold up, didn't it?
Well, that's the trouble. I was testing the hammer.
Hold it, just a second.
That's it. Okay, keep it moving,
Oh, hi, Gold.
Hi,
How you doing?
Teresa. I'm all right.
Good. Hey, how'd that new detergent you bought last week work out?
Well, I washed Gus's shirts in it, and everything certainly did come out white.
Well, that's great. Listen.
No. When I put them in, they were blue.
That do make a difference.
But I...
Please, Mr. Jack Benny, keep it moving, keep it moving.
Ow!
Ow? Say, buddy, I want my money back for these. They all have cyclamates in them.
Okay.
Thank you. Could I have a carton of cigarettes, please?
Mr. Benny, please, you've got to keep it moving, keep it moving. Ow!
Ow! Yes, this is Dr. Kowalski. Well, the earliest I can give you an appointment is 3 weeks. You may be dead by then? Well, in that case, please don't forget to cancel the appointment.
For the quickies, Jack, you're a great doctor. Beautiful. Let's go.
You mean it's all over?
What are you still doing in the doctor's outfit?
Get out of that. Gotta get ready for the football now.
Yes, sir.
Football,
Lord. Oh, that's funny.
No football.
What a great football football number.
That's over, too.
Yeah, well, listen, don't worry.
We didn't do anything.
When we add the music and the girls and the waterfall, Jack, you won't...
What waterfall?
Never mind that. We don't have time, Jack. We've got to get ready for the bullfight routine.
Get that
Bullfight? Look at, I've never... Wait a minute, it's silly.
See this
Fellas,
number.
I've never fought a bull before.
Well, neither is the bull. Don't worry about it. It's going to be beautiful. Trust me.
Different strokes for different folks.
And now this late flash. Mrs. Selma Archard, age 85. Say, that is a late flash.
Guess what? Do you want to win a chance on a wild weekend in Las Vegas?
Win or take?
Oh, how about take a chance?
Why not?
You won! You lucky winner, you gotcha! He touched... Oh, my hair's a mess. I couldn't possibly go to Vegas.
It's time once again to present the Flying Fickle Finger of Fate Award.
Who gets the gold?
Just infringed upon the musical element.
I think they could pick at me,
It's
couldn't
time
they?
for the award.
Well, who gets the Golden Groper tonight?
The National Security Agency.
They bugged CIA headquarters?
No. They seem to have developed a security leak.
Ah, there's a top secret plumber in the house?
Somewhere. It's not that kind of leak. According to the Associated Press, Washington real estate developer Edward Cook was to attend a zoning meeting and needed to know the number of employees at NSA's facility at Fort Meade.
I see. We just pick up the phone and say, hello, National Security Agency. How many spies you got there?
Well, you see, that's very good thinking. Mr. Cook did that. He called them, but they wouldn't tell him.
Well, couldn't he just count the cloaks and daggers and divide by 2?
Well, he didn't have to do that because he was able to get the information from an unimpeachable source, the Russian embassy.
The Russian embassy?
That's right.
Seems kind of funny they'd know, and NSA wouldn't even tell an ordinary American citizen.
Well, that's why we're going to give the fickle finger to the National Security Agency for so zealously guarding one of America's vital secrets against Americans.
Well, here you go, and this little goodie should stop your security leak. By the way, Dan, how many people do work there?
Sorry, that's classified.
Okay, old unimpeachable source.
I have it here, the information is working people 2,000. You can call anytime. National Security Agency has this number. Thanks.
Now keep it moving, Mr. Benny. Time for your Mountie song.
The Mountie song?
Yeah, over this way.
Buns?
Oh, good, Jack. With the Hawaiian music and the waterfall, it'll be just great.
What waterfall?
Trust me.
Twiggy is secretly in beautiful downtown Burbank and is hiding behind Audrey Hepburn.
There's the height of something. Tuning up for this show.
The State of the Union by Henry Gibson. I think the State of the Union would be better if the Union just stayed in bed.
Millhouse, this is Miss Tomlin again. I don't know why we've had a lag in our communication. Must be something wrong with your instrument. But anyway, Millhouse, this is your lucky day. Because I have the phones for you, and they're in all the appropriate colors. Well, by appropriate, I mean appropriate. For instance, now, if you're going to make a call to the fleet, you might call on our new shade of naval orange. Isn't that creative? No? Well, how about for any Oriental calls, you can use our new exciting shade of curious yellow. Oh, I did too. I just loved it. Wasn't it terrific? Did it do anything for you? No? Well, I know what we have. We have a terrific phone with an option, and it would be perfectly good for you to call all the heads of labor unions. It has a very tightly coiled cord. Well, it's coiled because it looks like it's ready to strike. Hello? 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 This is very strange. Phoenicia, this is Ernestine. I want you to send out a service check on all the circuits at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Well, because, honey, it's almost impossible to get through to that man.
Quack. People often ask me, what's my position on miniskirts? This.
Back home in Mayberry, I wanted to be a Broadway actor. So I went to a drama teacher by the name of Wells Fargo. He was my stage coach.
You dirty, dirty rat. Now you're gonna get what's coming to you. So button up your spats and listen to these pearls I'm throwing to you.
What's the news across the nation?
We have got the information.
In a way, we hope we'll,
We just love to give you our views. Ba-da-dee-da. Ladies and gents, laugh and looks at the news. Here's them.
The greatest Walter Brennan impressions I ever saw. Now with the news of the present. Here's the man to whom the news wouldn't be the news without the news. Here's Licky.
I'm a Yankee Doodle dandy. Hey? Ah, I told you. You want to hear Lyle Talbot? New York City, now in its 8th week of a garbage strike, found its problem further complicated by a severe blizzard that froze 8.5 million tons of garbage in the city streets. When questioned as to the major difficulty facing his administration, Mayor Lindsay said the spring thaw. Pause. San Francisco, it was revealed today that American Indians are making territorial demands based on an ancient treaty, which stated that all federal lands not being used to the fullest shall revert to the Indians. Therefore, they have laid claim to Alcatraz Island, the Mojave Desert, and both houses of Congress. And now, take it away, Goldie.
You dirty rat.
You. Roses are red. Violets are blue. The future news is up to you.
Well,
I couldn't do it.
very nice poem, though, Goldie.
Well, fine. Let's hear it with another poem, Dan. You dirty rat.
Goldie, I just don't know.
I do.
1990, 20 years from now, on his 7 o'clock news, get this one, though. On his 7 o'clock news, network anchorman Spiro Agnew unleashed a blistering attack on U.S. Vice President Walter Cronkite. As a result, the network reported that the Agnew News switchboard was flooded with a call from its viewer. 1990, 20 years from now, the first hippie postmaster general, Timothy Leary Jr., today announced a startling innovation in mail delivery. He has created, now listen, gang, he has created an airmail stamp that sniffs its own glue and flies by itself.
And now Laugh-In goes floating back 2 by 2 to Noah and his ark.
But what about the rabbits? You left off the rabbits.
What rabbits? There are no rabbits on my list.
Well, look, right there. Look, dumbbell. You left off the T. The way you got it, it spells rabbi.
Oh, no wonder those two with the beards made such a fuss being put next to the pigs. Well, I'll move them over to the chickens.
Hi. This is Buzzin' Ruth Buzzi, speaking softly and carrying a big shtick about Hollywood. Item. Actress Elkie Summer had a violent argument with her director about a nude scene in her next picture. After 2 hours of indignant hysterics, Summer won the argument. The director agreed to let her do one. And that's the naked truth. Ruth Buzzi from Tinseltown. Kissy, kissy.
Ladies and
Mr. Jack Benny. Just read the cards and keep it moving. Keep it moving.
A wise old cat chased a young mouse across a field and finally caught him. Now, the young mouse had never been caught before, but he was smart enough to say, "Why do you, a fine old cat, want a skinny little mouse like me? Set me free. Let me eat some nuts and cheese and wheat, and I will grow fat and be a better meal." See? Well, the cat thought it over, as he later explained to a friend. Now, that was the smartest little mouse I ever ate.
Mr. Benny, wait for your laugh now.
But there is no laugh.
Now, there you go. Keep up the good work and keep it moving. Keep it moving.
Now, wait.
That's long enough.
You know what I can't understand? On a show like this... Now, what's this?
This is for your medley of mining songs. Good, good. Keep it moving, Mr. Benny.
Doing the laughing show is my second favorite thing in the whole world. My first is sticking my mouth over the exhaust pipe of a bus and being dragged naked across a cactus patch in downtown Burbank during a wild pig stampede.
You know, I hear a lot about all this sex on television today, and it makes me very angry. I keep switching channels all night long and can't seem to find it.
Let me shake your hand. That was just the best.
Very good, Jack.
Author!
Wow.
Tonight we're going to take a look at work.
Well, great. I'm all for that.
You mean work?
No looking at
I
it.
thought so. Did you ever have to work real hard at anything?
Well, once it took 2 dinners and a bottle of wine.
I mean pursuing something utilizing your full capacity that could result in an achievement providing great personal satisfaction. Ever do that?
Yeah, as I said, once it took 2 dinners and a bottle of wine.
I know what it means to work.
I certainly do. Often I tell girls I need understanding.
Well, what's that got to do with it?
Nothing, but it works.
Have you ever had a real job?
Sure, I was once worked part-time, but I got fired.
Why?
It was a full-time job.
I just can't believe
Just one after the other.
It's hard to believe you've never had any kind of a job.
Well, I did have one. I was carving out quite a nice career for myself, too.
Oh, really? What were you?
Well, I was a towel boy in the steam room at the YWCA.
I don't want to hear anymore.
But I got fired.
All right. Why?
Or getting too wrapped up in my work.
I think we're all getting too wrapped up in your work, and it's time we go to tonight's mod world of work. Work, work, work.
I am the gal whose work is hard. I have to cruise the boulevard. I learn to pick up the tricks of the trade. I am Rita, the new meter maid. I am Rita, the new meter maid. Want a ticket?
Painter, quick! Move your ladder. I gotta get into that closet to shut off the main power switch because Sam, the electrician's got hold of a live wire.
I'm sorry, the plumber will have to move that pipe first. Union rules forbid painters doing plumber's work. Fred, come here.
Hey, hurry, move that pipe.
I can't. Not until the carpenter moves that lumber.
Carpenter, listen, will you move that board so the plumber can move the pipe so the painter can move the ladder so I can get into the closet to shut off the main power switch?
Oh, I'm sorry, but you'll have to get an electrician to move that cable off the board first. I couldn't.
Sorry, Sam.
I am a qualified chicken plucker. I pull the fuzz off a gooser ducker. Strip off the swans down with 17 strokes. And I'm loaded with old chicken jokes. You ready for one? Why did a chicken cross the road, huh? To lay it on the line. Damn! I'm loaded with old chicken jokes.
all, to work in an office, when you work in an office, the thing, I don't even, when I think it was such a hard, it was just the most draining, it was just the most hard. I mean, when you have, every day, you just feel like your face is just all, everything, your whole mind, you just feel like your brain is just twisting. You don't know what's happening. You just so, and the next thing you have to go in there and you run around, you don't know what's, then you get in the Christmas, everybody's, you don't know, it's just the most hard, I can't even talk about it.
Yes, Fitzgerald?
Sir, as this company's efficiency expert, I have something to tell you.
Yes?
I have uncovered vast sums of money wasted due to slipshod financial management, sloppy budget coordination, and inefficient personnel.
Oh, very well. And as this organization's financial manager, budget coordinator, and personnel director, I have two things to tell you.
What?
One, you're darned efficient. And two, you're fired.
What?
I am the guy who makes Peter Pan fly. I pull a rope and he swings through the sky. Since he's always played by a Maud or a Mary, is Peter an elf or a fairy? I wonder if he's Peter a troll or a gnome.
Miss Fenster, I don't know what's happened to ethics in business. Look at this. A Swiss copy of that British design we stole from the Japanese.
I spend my days in alphabet soup, up to my A's in alphabet soup. Somebody else handles X, Y, and Z, but when you find an A, it's from me. They're delicious. When you find an A, it's from me. My name's Dolores, and I make $1.15 an hour.
I believe we all understand the situation we have here. We're right in the middle of the nurses' and the doctors' strike, so the rest of us hospital employees will have to fill in the best that we can. Now, as the administrator in this hospital, I am familiar with medical terminology, so I'll read the instructions from the book. Now, what do you do?
Oh, I scrub floors.
Well, you'd better wash your hands.
Oh, no, they're clean. They've been in the mop bucket all day.
Now, you sure you can perform the actual operation?
Oh, sure. I know a lot about anatomy from preparing chickens in the kitchen.
Oh, well, that's swell. Ready to start?
Sure, but I just like...
Well, just a minute now. You're not going to start with a pair of scissors.
What would you like?
You get the scalpel. That's the one with the sharp edge. Okay? Good. Now, it says that you ready? You make the initial incision between the hip bone and the navel about 3 inches long. You got that?
Sure, nothing to it. I just like to ask one thing.
What's that?
Is it before or after I cut off its head?
I don't know. Well, that's our mod world for tonight. And, Jack, about your performance in the last sketch. I don't know how to tell
I wasn't in the last sketch.
Even so, you were fantastic.
Just great.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you.
Now it's time where I kiss the guest star.
Well, now you've gone too far.
Oh, thank you. For being so nice, you get a second helping.
Come on, Jack. We don't have time to fool around like that. You can have all that fun a little bit later. Right now, you got to get ready for the Easter parade now.
Easter parade?
Yep.
Look at it, it's February now.
Well, you wouldn't want to wait till everyone else does it, did you? There you go.
No, I suppose not.
Here's your firecracker.
Now, there you go. We'll be with you in just a second.
That's right.
No, but look at...
You'll think of something to do there, Jack.
What can I think of now?
Help! I told you you'd think of something, you old pro, you.
Trust me?
Well, Jack, right now it's storytelling time for our Scandinavian viewers. This is a point in the show, you've probably seen it, where our guest tells a story in Scandinavian.
But I don't speak Scandinavian.
Well, you don't have to. You see, every word you say will be translated by our old Scandinavian interpreter here.
How do you do?
No sense talking to him, Jack. He doesn't speak a word of English.
Now, wait a minute, fellas. Look, how can we do this if he doesn't understand a word of English?
Well, the people he'll be talking to don't understand a word of English either.
No? Sure.
Don't worry about it, Jack. It's going to be fine. Now, you go ahead and tell the story. Trust me.
Well, it seems there were these 3 steeplejacks.
Hortene files, hörde ordning. If you can't go to blood, it's a raining, a rolling, a fading. Didn't know the floor, the gold.
And they were jammed into this submarine. And the taller one. And the taller one said,
It looks like your story was a big hit.
But I didn't even tell the story. I mean, I didn't understand a word he said.
But you didn't have to. You already knew the story.
And besides, we have a resident Scandinavian story supervisor to test reaction. Here she is.
See, I told you it went well.
Sure, and with that waterfall behind you, it's going to be twice as funny.
What waterfall?
Trust us.
Myra Breckenridge has just won the Downbeat Jazz Pole Award as the best combo of the year.
Okay, America, shape up or ship out. General Bull Wright here, brought to you by the makers of Fatigues, available in your choice of green. Now, a lot of you pussyfooters saying the Army ain't democratic. Poppycock! It's a simple matter of give and take between officers and enlisted men. That's all it is. Officers give the orders, enlisted men take them. Now, what could be fairer than that? That's it for tonight. Just wanted to clear that up. Don't forget to get my new record, Harper Valley ROTC.
I just bought my girlfriend a genuine squirrel fur coat.
You're kidding. How can you tell it's a real squirrel?
She found nuts in the pocket.
Someone's been shot.
Who?
I have.
You shouldn't have had the chili.
The dancing maiden is likened to the flicker of a candle's flame. For the Shah must take caution not to be singed.
Well, that's it for this one, folks. Time to say goodnight, Dick, and go on to the joke line.
Yep, that's right.
Now, wait a minute, fellas. Hold it.
What's the matter?
Now, just hold it right here. For about an hour now, you've been running me ragged, right? I was supposed to get a ballet number.
That's beautiful.
I didn't get that. I was supposed to get a football sketch. I didn't get that. And everybody's been telling me about a waterfall. I didn't even see that, you know. Now, I've been a nice guy, believe me. I have been waiting and waiting. I didn't get mad. I waited. I even practiced my wow. I didn't get it. I've been waiting. You've been promising me a waterfall. Now, David, I want a waterfall.
Well, now,
I don't care.
We've got to go to the joke
You can go if you want. I'm
We
staying.
don't have time for that. Say goodnight.
You don't have
Good
time
night,
for that.
Dave.
Good night,
Jack.
Good night,
everybody.
I just got a job putting body paint on chorus girls. Only $50 a week, but that's all I could afford.
If Kay Ballard married former astronaut Wally Schirra, divorced him, married his brother, she'd be Kay Schirra, Schirra.
You know, some people say they miss the old days of burlesque, not me, but I do miss the nights.
Oh!
Now I can do my line.
I know a guy who finally found a girl who looked like his mother, cooked like his mother, and talked
act like his mother. Now, his mother loved her, but his father hated her.
Hello, Jack.
Can't see anything.
It's better that way, Jack.
Well, that was it.
Okay, Jack.
Okay, Jack.
Offshore oil drilling is a lot like a well-kept Hollywood... Oh, I can't go through this.
One good thing you can say about the oil slicks off Santa Barbara, at least they keep the ocean from squeaking.
What Vice President Agnew really means is do your own thing, but do it my way.
You know what? Everybody keeps asking why I go around with my clothes all wet and everything. Well, because I'm only following directions, you know. The label says wash and wear.
Get away from me, all of you. I live in a wild neighborhood. The kids call the sex education class Operation Head Start.
Funny thing happened to me on the way to Burbank. This is it.
My uncle trained his chauffeur to be a gorilla. Well, it looked absolutely marvelous in the uniform. But how do you get a Rolls Royce out of a tree?
Sorry.
That's all right.
But guess what? I haven't slept for 10 days. But you know something else? I'm not tired.
No?
You know why?
Why?
Because I sleep nights.
You know, since the kids down on the farm started hiding their marijuana in the hen house, now there's a little pot in every chicken.
Okay, Jack.
I got a friend.
Yeah.
Who crossed a sheep. Let me start it again. I've got a friend who crossed a sheep with a porcupine.
Yes.
He doesn't know what he's got, but if it knits, it's... No, I won't say it.
For as long as I can remember, Doctor, I've always had the terrible feeling that I bore people.
Very interesting. Mr. Jack Bennyfellows, all wet. His timing was trouble, and he had us rushing around like crazy. I haven't done that much running since the old days. Never do molest and less. Lucy, my little pooption, I'd like to run into you. Do me a favor, you lovely red-headed bunch of goodies. Drop in sometimes. And you too, Gary. Just drop. Oh, Max Dillon, if you are watching tonight, and I can think of no reason why you shouldn't be, one of our lookouts saw you riding side saddle the other day. You better watch it.
Jack, I wonder if you could help us out.
We're very embarrassed about this, but you see, we've got an extra minute to fill, and maybe you could tell a story or something.
It doesn't usually happen, you know.
I see, the show went too fast.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it's because, you know, I kept moving it.
Yeah, you did.
I mean, you told me to move it. So I moved it. Because you know, it's my fault. I guess. You said, move it. So I moved it, yeah.
Now we're sure.
Well, that's it. You know me. Well, wow.
Yeah. But a story would help.
A story, right? Yeah, I see. Well, all right. I'll move the story. Yeah.
Oh, good.
Well, anyway, there were the 3 steeplejacks.
Oh, gee, that's a funny... That's the 3 steeplejacks caught in a submarine.
Yeah. Oh, you know that.
Oh, everybody go ahead.
Well, I can have them caught somewhere else.
No,
I see. Well, there were these 3...
Well, don't repeat it, Jack. We don't have that much time. Just go along. The taller one said to the shorter one.
Yeah, oh, that's right. Yes.
Well,
the
it's
taller
your story.
One...
Go ahead and finish it.
Oh, well, the taller one said to the shorter
Yeah,
one...
well, you know that, Jack. What in heaven's name did he say?
Well, he said...
Well, hello again. This is Buck Benny speaking. I am joined by a fairly large group of our folks for summer. We've been often we only have one or two of them. We have three of our folks here. So we have John Henderson here from This Day in Jack Benny, who is currently airing on his podcast, Kathy's his wife reading Kathy's book. What's Kathy's book title again, John?
Jack Benny and the Golden Age of American Radio Comedy.
Yes.
So I'm releasing one chapter a week over the summer since Jack Benny didn't have any summer episodes.
So I've been listening to it and I love it. One. Two, it's kind of fun knowing that there's another episode coming each week. So that's kind of cool thing to do. So tune in for that. And they tune in. Where do they go to tune in for that?
Well, you can just go to thisdaybenny.com. Okay. Or just look for This Day in Jack Benny on wherever you get your podcast, Apple Podcasts.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right, and then our friend Terry is back. Terry Phillips has some Reagan stuff going on. Why don't you share a little bit about kind of where you're at in that process and what they can do to either support you or where they can go to watch the play when it's eventually out, and also about your podcast, just for a couple minutes. Go.
The play is called Ronald Reagan Saves the World. It's a one-man show, and it's essentially about Reagan's life. It's not a political play, although he was a politician, among other things, so there is politics in the show, but it's not a particularly political show. It's a biography of him. And it's funny because he had a sense of humor, and it's serious because he had an amazing life story. And we are having our world premiere on September 1st at the Center Stage Theater in Santa Barbara. So if you're in California or feel like making a road trip across the country to come see it, that'll be starting September 1st. And it'll run there through the 10th, and then we will take the show on the road, and you can find more information about all that on our website, which is reaganplay.com. And as a companion piece to the stage show, we're doing a podcast. We have one episode in the can, and there will be more to come, and that's called The Secret Life of Ronald Reagan. And you will find all of those in your usual podcast platforms.
Very good. Do you have any way for them to donate to you for this project if they want to, like a PayPal or I don't know any?
Right. We really don't at the moment. We had run a Kickstarter campaign, but we might have set our goal too high, because unless you reach your goal, you don't get any money that way. So we will probably start a Patreon account soon. We don't have that yet, but I appreciate you asking. If people want to support the play, the best way to do that is come see the show.
Right.
And if you go to reaganplay.com, you can see where it is and where it will be, and buy tickets and support theater.
Okay. And for folks who want to donate now, I will include my PayPal information below, and so you can just make sure you put it on there. It's for Terry's play or for Terry or whatever, and then I'll channel it over to Terry once he has his Patreon set up, and I'll put down who that's from you and list your name and so forth. And
well, thank you very much. That's
I figure maybe I might get some folks donating for that. It's worked before when I've asked for things for other of my podcasters and things. Somebody needed a computer once and folks donated, and that was lovely. So we'll see what happens, right? And of course, if you're one of my billionaire listeners or multimillionaire listeners, feel free. $100,000 to Terry would be lovely. I think we're going to cap it at 3 million, so no more than 3 million. One donor at least.
That seems fair. That will probably get us to Broadway.
I mean, one of your listeners could have won the lottery. You don't
know.
Well, that's true. That's true. And if you love Ronald Reagan, you can support the play for that reason. And if you hated Ronald Reagan, you can support the play for that reason. Yes. It doesn't matter.
Yes. Anything over $1 million, I will take my 10% cut.
just be sure to report it to the IRS.
Yes, of course.
They will.
I will drive up and deliver it personally. So, all right. Hope, how are you doing?
I'm doing okay.
Well, it's good to see you, and it's so cool that you join us. I know that you're I think currently you're between podcasts and things. Is that still correct?
Yes, that's kind of correct. I'm looking to maybe start something up again. So I guess if I'm gonna give my plug for anything, I'm not quite sure what I do yet. So I'll just make the decision right here to just look at hopesears.com, and whatever I work on next will be there.
Oh, perfect. All right. Exciting. All right. So let's get started. Today's episode is Laugh In from 1972, I'm pretty sure. This is, of course, Jack, very close to the end of his career.
I don't usually do this, Buck, but I'm going to interrupt you.
Sure.
This recording was mislabeled.
Oh,
it was not 1972. It was recorded and broadcast. I mean, in 1970. They have the wrong date on this recording.
Oh.
February 2nd, 1970 was the original broadcast date.
So I think does it say February 2nd? So it might just be the wrong year it's put down as.
I don't remember what it said
on
the
Okay, I'll take a look.
But yeah, they had the wrong date on the.
We will get the date corrected. So
it will be correct wherever you're watching now. But I did notice it said copyright 1970 at the end. I was like, oh, I thought it was later.
Yeah.
That's the reason.
So this darn folks getting things mislabeled. How dare they? It was probably me. But anyway, so we're from 1970. That will make this air, which is lovely, a little sooner. As we record this, we're at the end of July of 2023, and so this will air probably sometime in August. And it's been fun doing this whole summer, and we're winding down. I've got just a few more shows for us to do, but this Laugh In is always one that's famous amongst Jack Benny circles, because it was kind of interesting to see Jack totally try and sink into the counterculture of the time and so forth, and see how he fits in and all of that, which I think is interesting, if nothing else. And parts of the jokes don't always work and things. I mean, Laugh In jokes don't always hold up to today anyway. Even without Jack, but then with Jack's timing being totally different than the show, and that's what the whole joke of the show sort of is. Whenever they feature Jack, is about his timing being off, which is a kind of a funny, strange thing to do with Jack, because of course he's known for his timing is the thing. But to take Jack off his timing is interesting in and of itself. But let's go over to Terry. What did you think about this episode, and is there anything you want to point out about the episode?
Well, first, I should tell you that I remember watching this episode when it was first broadcast.
Wow.
And I was a huge Laugh In fan. When I did some research about the show for our conversation today, I had forgotten it was the #1 rated show on television of all television programs. Everybody was watching Laugh In when it was on the air. I'm not sure about the year 1970, but the series began in '68, and at that time it beat Gunsmoke.
Yeah.
I mean, it was huge. And I'll just a word about the end of the program. At the end of every show, Artie Johnson was one of the cast regulars, wore a German military uniform, including the helmet, and he would say, "Very interesting." He'd come through some artificial greenery,
yes,
and then he would almost always say, "Good night, Lucy," or say something to Lucille Ball, because this show was on, depending on the year, it was either on just before Here's Lucy on the opposite network, which was CBS. Laugh In was on NBC, or it was on in the middle of Gunsmoke, which led into Lucy. So it was very unusual. He was addressing the competition on NBC. And I'll talk a little bit more a bit later about some of the cultural references of the time that might be unfamiliar today. But the last thing I want to point out is that the creator of the show, George Slatter, was a television genius, not only because of Laugh-In, but for so much of what of the influence that he had on TV in the 60s and 70s. And Laugh-In was phenomenal. This episode with Jack is, of course, even more interesting to those of us who are Jack Benny fans. But the show itself was groundbreaking, memorable. I still remember a lot of the running gags from Laugh-In all these years later. And I'm so glad that you presented it to us today. It's just a wonderful, wonderful memory for me.
There you go. And just so you know, you're not the only one who saw it when it was originally aired. I also saw it, but I would have been like 6 years old. But we watched Laugh-In all the time, and I remember Jack being on because I always even then was kind of interested in Jack in some ways. I don't know exactly why at the time, but I was, because he was just such an anachronism. So, John, what were your thoughts?
Well, it was a different experience for me, having never seen Laugh-In ever. So it was sort of like a missing piece to a puzzle. You know, if like pop culture is a puzzle, this filled in a lot of gaps. Like there's a lot of other shows that are obviously emulating or trying to play off the success of Laugh-In from. I know that it's referenced in the making of the Muppet Show. They pitched it as Laugh-In with puppets, basically. And then there's an Archie's Funhouse cartoon, which is very much trying to get the pace of this show, but for kids. Even that the soldier guy is in an episode of Sesame Street of all things. I don't remember what he says, the alphabet or something like that. So, even variety shows in general, the Sonny and Cher show, you can see how so many television programs are trying to be a Laugh-In. So watching it, I was just, I didn't quite get it at first, the pace and the way that it's cut together is very different than anything else I've ever seen before. They sort of are, walking the line between like cheesy old-fashioned jokes and like hip breaking the fourth wall, being different kind of things, and you can't quite tell what stuff they're making fun of and what stuff they're sincere about. And in some ways I think that's sort of on purpose, as a sort of like safety net, where if you didn't get the joke, or you weren't supposed to get the joke, it was a cheesy joke. So it was very interesting that way. And of course the fast-paced editing was very different than any other show. Even a lot of the shows that try to emulate Laugh-In don't do it the same way. So yeah, it was definitely a fascinating history look. As far as where Jack fit in, I actually think that he fit in quite well. And in some ways, I don't think they're making fun of Jack and his slow timing. In some ways, I feel like they're making fun of themselves and their own show and the overly fast timing and the sort of like outrageous, non sequitur comedy.
I would agree with all that. I'm surprised they don't have it. Someone hasn't tried it lately again, something like Laugh-In, because the pace, we always talk about how the pace of modern audiences working with radio shows or working with old television shows, it's dramatically different. Whereas a Laugh-In type show seems like that would fit in with the current culture and the reels, and people used to just sing something for a few seconds and move on and keep moving. would seem to tie into the whole
Well,
life a little more.
it's like TikTok, only it's made by a bunch of different people instead
Correct.
of all being made by one person.
Yep, I agree 100%. It's the closest thing I can think of to TikTok is how this works. Hope, what were your thoughts on it?
Well, as I'm kind of in the same camp as John, I've never seen a full episode of Laugh-In. I've seen clips. I couldn't get into it myself, not this particular show, but in the past when I've, my mom loves Laugh-In. She loves all the shows from that kind of era, and I could never get into it. But watching this show, I kind of got it better, and I think it is because it's kind of making fun of itself, because it's very much a show for its time with all of the jokes, and so I think that's why it was hard for me to get into it. Is it's just so many fast-paced jokes, and I kind of actually agree with you, John, about I didn't think of it that way, in the sense that I lost my train of thought, but
well, here's the other thing. Back in 1968, 1970 or whatever, the idea of like a edgy joke on television was sort of unheard of. Yeah. And I think that's another thing which made it hip and interesting at the time, whereas today it's sort of just like, that's nothing. That doesn't, that's not unusual.
You got me back on track. I think it's meant to be a little bit, the dichotomy of like, you're not supposed to get the joke, but I think it's more because like at that time there was the old generation and the new generation, and I feel like they're trying to hide some of the jokes from the old generation but make them come to their own kind of conclusion about like, oh, young people, and so I think it kind of works in that way, but I think one of the reasons why I don't like so many shows from this era is because they're all trying to like be Laugh-In, and you can't all be Laugh-In. And I don't know, but I really enjoyed this particular show because I did like, I think I like the slower pace in some ways, but I do agree it's like very similar to TikTok in the sense of everything like kind of ping-ponging around, but I don't think actually it would work today because it is by one person, and like I feel like it would be confusing, like the non sequiturs would be kind of confusing if it's not in you would have to structure the show as if you're scrolling through TikTok. Right. I think, and maybe it would work that way if you pretended that the show was essentially TikTok and you're scrolling through like a TikTok feed, and maybe you could make it work that way. But yeah, I think it's very interesting that we're seeing that kind of pop up again, but in a weird way.
You can see your next project, Terry, right here with the TikTok thing and the whole and feature Reagan doing it. It would be interesting. Yeah, anyway,
yes, exactly.
Just to underscore that point. It was so groundbreaking that the editor won an award for the style of editing that he did. Jump cuts were unknown. Jump cuts were unknown. They were considered mistakes in television at that time. You couldn't go from one image to another without a dissolve or a fade out and fade in. And so it was that big a deal at that time. And as far as imitation goes, there was a show on ABC that came out the year after Laugh-In premiered. It was called Turn On, and it held the distinction at that time for being the show that was canceled the earliest after it premiered. Turn On was canceled during the show, during the broadcast. So bad, but it was trying to be Laugh-In, and it wasn't.
Yeah, I think that if I had seen this when I was in high school or college, it would have been my favorite show. That style of like I wanted something original and not just predictable, and that style of non sequitur with like Steve Martin and the sketch comedy of Monty Python were like what I liked most, and I think that this definitely would have fit right in with that. Even though it's not like watching it the first time it's laugh out loud funny. I feel like this is the kind of thing where you look back on it and you remember it, and then it becomes funny. And so when you see the same thing the next episode, you're like, oh, here we go, and you start to laugh out loud. I feel like it does. You need a few episodes, I imagine, to really get it.
And just as Jack Benny did, this show appealed to everybody across generations, regardless of political persuasion, even though it might have been considered hyper liberal, which in its way it was. But I mean, John Wayne did Laugh-In. Richard Nixon was on Laugh-In. Richard Nixon, when he was running for president, one of the catchphrases on the show was "sock it to me," and Richard Nixon said, "Sock it to me."
And totally the wrong inflection for the show, but
right.
It was very endearing the way he did it. So it was like,
yeah,
okay,
but they, to be fair, they invited his opponent, who was Hubert Humphrey, to be on the show, and he turned it down. And he later said it was probably the biggest mistake of his campaign because he lost. Right. And had he been on Laugh-In, maybe he would have gotten more votes. I mean, I don't know if that's true, but my point is everybody wanted to be on Laugh-In, in no small part because it was the #1 show. Everybody was watching.
Yeah, 100% agree with all that. I have a question for Terry. Do you know what the connection between the Smothers Brothers show and Laugh-In was? Because I've always thought that the Smothers Brothers kind of started the ball rolling, and they saw the Smothers Brothers shows was very successful, other than the fact that it made the networks and everybody so mad at it that they ended up, I think, canceling it. But it and I think it overlapped with Laugh-In, but I don't know if there would be a Laugh-In without the Smothers Brothers show. I don't know if that was a catalyst for it, or if they just happened to be coming up at the same time.
I would put it this way: I don't think there would have been a Smothers Brothers show or Laugh-In had those two shows come out at a different time. They both came out in the late 60s. I think 68 was when the Smothers Brothers were canceled, or 69.
That's what I wanted to say. Yeah,
and they might have come out a year or so before Laugh-In did.
Yeah, they had 2 or 3 seasons. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think they were both shows of their time. Just as pointed out, they were representative of what was going on in the country and in the world at that time. But I don't think that without the Smothers Brothers show that there wouldn't have been a Laugh-In. I think it came out because of the era and because of the various forces. One of the biggest differences was that, as you said, CBS, well, as the Smothers Brothers liked to point out, CBS fired the Smothers Brothers, whereas NBC was very supportive of Laugh-In, but both were very popular shows. It's just that the Smothers Brothers show was much more on the nose political. Laugh-In was making fun of everyone, and as John said, and making fun of itself. I want to point out a couple of cultural references that might not be familiar to a lot of our listeners or viewers. You know, they had that cocktail party sequence where they would be dancing and then they'd stop and somebody would make a joke, and then they'd have visuals to kind of illustrate other things. And one of them was Ida Lupino, "Get off your duff," and I think she was married to Howard Duff, so it was a pun.
Yes.
And another one was Toady Fields has a hangover all over. And Toady Fields was a comic, and she was very heavy set. So I think they were kind of making fun of that. And they made jokes which today would be considered very offensive to a lot of people.
Yes.
At the time, they were not unusual jokes, making jokes about gender or about nationality or weight or a lot of other things.
Yes.
They were currency in comedy at that time, and nobody got too pushed out of shape over these things. They also made lots and lots and lots of jokes about race, but they weren't the kind of jokes that were told, in the 40s and 50s or earlier. They were embracing differences, despite the fact that they were also making jokes about them. I don't know how many of you caught it, but one of the sketches that Jack, calling it a sketch is too big a word because it was a couple of lines. One of the sketches Jack Benny was in, he played a doctor, and his character name was Dr. Kubelski, which was Jack Benny's real last name.
Correct.
And let's see, there was a Twiggy joke. Twiggy was a model. She was very thin. There was a joke about Myra Breckenridge, who was a character in a book by Gore Vidal. Joanne Worley, again, one of the cast members, told chicken jokes, or she would say, "Is that a chicken joke?" And that was a running gag. And Johnny Carson, of course, appeared in this. George Lindsay from the Andy Griffith Show was a guest, and Michael Caine made a joke about Christine Keeler, and it would take too long to explain who she was, but she was very well known. There was a scandal involving espionage in Great Britain, and he, being British, made that reference. So many of those little things, which, if you were an adult in 1970, would be known, or at least you'd have some sense of what they were talking about. But all these years later, a lot of these kinds of things are absolutely lost,
right,
for vast majority of people.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. For sure. Well, and the question I always had about this show, which I think I know the answer to, but you'll have, like, Tonight Show, you have Johnny Carson on it a little bit. Would it be that these people came in for that episode, even though it wasn't their week to be a guest star, and were in just a little tiny snippet? Or would it be that when they did their own show, I mean, when they had a Johnny Carson as their guest, they filmed extra and interspersed that in later episodes? I assume it's the latter. It's the one I
think so. I'm pretty sure you're right.
Because Jack shows up in other episodes just for a little piece, and I think it's recorded at this time. If you went back, he's probably in the same suit that he's in this time. But I think that's a cool idea, because it does give you a feeling of it's more of a happening show, because it's got these people in it more than just 1 week. So, yeah.
Some of the regulars and the one I think of most was Lily Tomlin, became huge breakout stars.
Yes, and Goldie Hawn.
Goldie Hawn, of course. Richard Dawson was a regular. I don't think he was in this episode. He might not have been on during the season, but a lot of these folks became enormous stars in much the same way that it happened with Saturday Night Live. It was a great platform for them. It gave them a chance to try stuff, to develop characters, and then in some cases they went on to become mega stars.
Oh yeah, for sure. Then the other piece is, like some folks were saying, that a lot of shows were kind of trying to be Laugh-In and things, and it didn't work so well. I mean, it got so ridiculous. I mean, you had like Bonanza trying to have the guys fall off their horses and do the quick cuts and the whole thing. It just didn't work. If you search for that episode, I think it's called the Laugh-In episode. I'm sure you can find that. Anyway, this comedy worked for this show and changed television, at least for a while, with some of the things that were coming out. I mean, I think probably Love American Style, that we chatted about last week, would be maybe not have happened without Laugh-In happening first. It has very similar stylings to Laugh-In. And I do love American Style. Is a fun show to watch as well, to get some of that pacing down. Laugh-In, I don't know. I mean, I think it's available on, I think you can buy DVDs and things like that of it. There aren't too many episodes, I don't think, on YouTube, but you can search for that. Love American Style, the whole first season's on YouTube, so people can find that, and that's kind of fun to watch, that first season from 1969. Anyway, is there anything else you want to point out with Laugh-In or with Jack being on this show? I think it was gutsy of Jack to try and be on this show, because it's so different from anything else he's done. I think it's interesting seeing Jack in Laugh-In, seeing Jack on Flip Wilson that we've had recently. It's just him trying to kind of keep up with what's going on and what's popular, and they are the top shows in the country and things. So it's
I think that the joke about "trust me" is maybe what they told him, where they're like, "You can do whatever, and we'll edit it and make you look good."
Yeah, exactly. Well, and that's what Jack was known for, is bringing people on. That's why so many movie stars and things would be on his show that weren't on any other show, because they knew he would make them look good, and he could make anybody look funny, even if you weren't necessarily a funny person. He would figure out a way, and his writers would figure out a way to make it work. So, and that's sort of what the laugh-in people would do. I mean, it had to be a challenge for the writers to go, okay, we have this star coming in. What are they known for? What can we make fun of? How can we make their personality fit with laugh-in, or not fit, but make it work and be funny? And so you'd have all these different people.
But the format has so many cheats that if something doesn't work, you're not stuck with a bad thing. You can just make it work.
Correct, 100%. And one of the people they have is at one point Michael Landon comes over, which is strange because he was on the competing show against them, but that he did a pretty good job of when he came over. Then the other piece I was going to mention was the difference between the Smothers Brothers and Laugh-In. One is the networks weren't as supportive. I think that's the biggest thing that why Smothers Brothers didn't work. But the other piece is Smothers Brothers bits would go on longer. So if they were going to talk about the war or something controversial, they would stick with it for a few minutes and really sink it in, and people would remember that. Whereas Laugh-In would do something and they'd be 4 jokes on before that joke even really landed about that it was about Vietnam and things. And so I don't think it would stick in your mind as much that it was being as controversial as maybe it was.
It was a very subversive show.
Yes.
And John, you said that you might have watched this if you were in high school or college at the time. I was in high school at the time. And, you know, the day after Laugh-In aired, the next day, we'd all be talking about what we watched the night before, the jokes, the catchphrases, and some of the things we didn't understand. We would try to sort out among us, you know, what did that mean? There was in the Lily Tomlin sketch where she plays a telephone operator. That was a running gag, and she was usually talking to someone famous on the phone. In this sketch, she was talking to someone named Milhouse. Well, that was Richard Nixon's middle name. And so when she looked up the address at the end, 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, that's the address of the White House. And so things like that, we would try to figure out, what did this mean?
Yeah, totally.
Well, I think, like you say, I think that Laugh-In, The Tonight Show, Smothers Brothers were probably the first water cooler shows that people would talk about the next day with their colleagues and so forth. And then those shows kind of went away. Tonight Show would still, I think, be the thing that people would talk about. And then maybe Archie Bunker and things like that a little bit, or MASH, who knows, until Saturday Night Live came along, and Saturday Night Live became the water cooler conversation, I think, for many years. But it's just interesting how those things progressed and how you can see one connect to the other. So anyway, without further ado, let's let the folks enjoy this episode of Laugh-In with Jack Benny. And so what a fun combination to have, and how interesting to have this piece. Oh, I will mention one more thing now that I think about it. I love watch the dancing number when they're all dancing and doing jokes, and see Jack standing still with the girl dancing in front of him, and sort of with him, but he's not dancing. But he's not the only one. I think also Rowan and Martin, I can't remember which one, doesn't really dance either, just kind of stands there.
And there's a reason for that in this episode. It was Dan Rowan who wasn't moving, and it's because he had injured his leg. You can kind of see it if you look carefully. He had a cane, which he really used, but prior to this episode, he had an injury. That's why he wasn't dancing.
Was Jack injured as well, or?
Yeah, but a long time before. I think Fred Allen had something to do with that.
I think so. Yeah. Or he was on that Bonanza episode and fell off his horse. I'm not sure what happened there. Anyway, all right. Enjoy, folks. We'll see you next time.